Hey, what's up everybody? Jordan from Pianote here. Happy Rocktober. Today's lesson is on a Ray Charles blues progression from the song What I'd Say. This song features a lot of really cool stuff. We got a sweet bass line in the left hand. We got some cool kind of pulsing chord movements in the right. And then we've got an awesome little lick that caps off the whole thing. So we're going to look at each part of those. So let's start at the beginning with that bass line. The bass line is really simple. It consists of, again, it's this 12-bar pattern. It's in the key of E. So that means we have 3 chords to work with. We got an E chord, we got an A, and we got a B. So that's the 1, 4, 5, and the progression of notes is this. So that's the pattern. It's going to be the same interval jumps regardless of what note you're on. So the interval jumps are, we have a 1, then we've got 2 5s, and then we have a 7, and then we have a octave. So 1, 5, 5, 7, octave. So that same pattern takes its way up a 4th jump to the A, back to E, then to B, then to A, and then jumps back down to E. So here's that whole progression in the left hand from top to bottom. All right, so that's a super cool sounding, versatile bass line. You hear that kind of thing in a lot of piano music. It's a great way to just anchor your rhythm in the left hand. Things get a little more complicated when we get the right hand in. It's kind of this weird polyrhythmic pulse thing. So I'm going to go really, really slow with the left and the right to show what notes line up with what and what notes kind of push the other hands sort of in a slightly offset way. So here it is really, really slow, this pattern. So it's kind of this little hop, skip, jump thing. But the way that I like to think about this is what chord notes are lining up with what bass line notes. So first of all, the right hand is playing basically an E triad. This is an E triad in second inversion, so here's your root position. So that's our main kind of home bass shape here, but it's an E7 chord that we want to be implying. So that means we also want to be working with this D note here. So if you look back at this bass line, it goes. So we play this E in the bass all by itself, and then we play the first of our B with the triad on top. And then we kind of mimic in both our hands, we mimic this B jump. So watch this really slowly. So notice how I'm keeping in mind that both hands use those 2 notes at the same time, because that kind of gives your mind a break from that hand independence where you're having to put one hand in front of the other, because after these 2 notes, this E chord is going to hit before the octave bass line hits. So listen for that. So notice how I'm kind of popping this before this hits. It's kind of a weird sensation to get your hands under. It's one of those things where if you take it really slow and kind of guide it the way I am teaching it here, before long you'll just sort of get this pulse in your hands, and then you'll all of a sudden, you won't even really be thinking about it. I find I make the mistakes when I'm thinking too much about what the pattern is versus just kind of feeling it out and trusting that you've done the practice work. So that's the general pattern. That pattern lasts throughout the whole progression. So when you take the progression up to the 4 chord, your shape in the right hand is going to change a little bit to reflect that. So it's going to go from this E7 shape, and now it's going to play these notes, kind of making an A9 chord. So that consists of notes B, C sharp, E, and G. And so that is how that shape is reflected in the 4 chord. There it is. And then we get this 5 chord that uses that sweet lick. So I'm going to break down what that lick is, because when I learned to play this way, it totally changed my life on the piano. So our 5 chord is just a B7 chord. So that consists, in the right hand here, I'm playing B, I'm playing D sharp, and I'm playing A. And then that riff is based on the E pentatonic scale. So here it is really slow. So again, even slower. So it all kind of hinges on these, on the A and the B note. So it sort of starts on A, and then we do this really awesome thing that I encourage you all to really practice and listen out for. It does this sort of grace note, which is like this slide between the A and the B using this B flat. So rather than kind of like jumping around from the keys, you kind of slide up. It's like almost a piano version of bending a note. So all I'm doing is I have my pointer finger and my middle finger here. I'm kind of landing on my pointer finger and then like slipping my middle finger from this B flat to the B natural. So yeah, I'm doing that little quick lip there, and then I'm moving up to play my D and E. So that's D, E, and then I'm using, again, this little slippy technique here from the B flat to the A, G, E, D. So from the 5 chord here, then to the 1. Right? So that sounds pretty awesome. It's a really distinctive riff. Ray Charles uses it, but you can use it too. It's just using that pentatonic scale, very, very common. Again, this is just a 12-bar blues. This is a great song to use to learn how to work with chord shapes in the blues progression and work with kind of this rock feel in the bass line there. So I'm going to play this whole progression one more time and listen out for that polyrhythmic pattern in both hands, and then check out that riff. right, so have fun practicing that. It's a little challenging. Just start off with that bass line. That bass line enough will get you going, get you feeling comfortable and confident, and then slowly, really slowly, combine both your hands together. Maybe work on that riff as a separate thing to get that technique down too. That's it for this lesson. If you want to learn anything more about the piano, check us out at pianote.com. We'll see you later.